This is lesson number 2 for the financial service providers. So we looked at this last week, and what we looked at really was about banks, debit cards, things like that. We'll just go through it quickly here. A financial institution is an institution that manages money. So off the top of your head, if I told you financial institution, you think of finance. So what's an institution means like a certain type of business. So what business offers services to do with finance, and it's banks. So banks, commercial banks, and also you have things like credit unions. So that's what a financial service is. We have 3 here: commercial banks, credit unions, and post offices. And we're mainly going to look at commercial banks. A bit on credit unions as well. Commercial banks, we have examples here. You'd have heard of these before. Just you'd see them walking down the street. Bank of Ireland, AIB, Ulster Bank, Barclays, KBC, Permanent, TSB. These are just 6 examples. So they're banks, they're high street banks, and you see them walking up and down the road. That's where people can get loans. It's where people can have their savings, get a mortgage, which is a larger loan for a house. So they're the most popular financial institution. The services offered by commercial banks. So we have current accounts, deposit accounts, saving and investment options. So current account is when you just lodge your money into the account. Deposit account you might be trying to make a savings over time. So you will put in multiple deposits. So I'm going to put in €100 in June this year, and I'm going to put in €100 in June next year. And then when I complete my leaving cert the following year, I'll have €200 saved up, and I'm going to use that €200 to get myself so on and so forth. It's an example of where you having like a specific type of savings account. We've looked at savings account before, in terms of like the calculating the interest you get on savings account. A savings account is generally something where you put in a certain amount of money every so often. If you had a job in the summer and you were a waitress and you were earning €200 every week, you might put in €50 from that into a savings account. And generally you wouldn't touch the savings account for a couple of years. You put in €50 every week, and then after a couple of years you're getting close to a couple of €1,000 in there, and that money has been earning interest as well. So you don't spend out of your savings account. Whereas your current account would be if you just went to your job, your money came into your bank account, and basically you leave the money there, or you spend it, online spending, or take it out for an ATM. Current account is the most common account you'd see. Standing orders, we talked about. That's when you are paying a certain amount, a specific amount, every so often. So every month, let's say, like Netflix. A direct debit is when you're basically just sending money. A borrowing options is what we're going to be looking at today. So this is a little bit more detail on each of them. So the current account, as we previously went through, was the first port of call. It's the first thing you do when you open up a bank account. I'll go through the homework in a bit in terms of what we were being asked to do. But there's no interest earned on a current account. So we can't earn any interest on a current account. But generally current accounts are convenient for use for taking out money out from an ATM, or basically sending money for online shopping and things like that. But very important to know that a current account is a non-interest account, so you can't earn any interest, which means you can't increase the amount that you have in your account through the bank paying you an interest fee. The homework we were being asked to do was to fill out the information for a current account application form. So I have that here. This is what we were asked to do. So we were given a bit of information. I'm just going to zoom in double. Okay, so given a bit of information. So the first thing we were asked to do was with the Mr., Miss, or Mrs. We're told Carla Davies, and we're not told any bit more information. I would go with Miss. Mrs. generally is used for a female who is married. If you're unsure, go for Miss. So I would tick Miss there. Her home telephone number, so that's her home telephone number and that's her mobile number. And I will just input those numbers in, home telephone number and mobile number. We know her name is Carla and we know her name is Davies, so we know her first name and surname, and her address is given there, 21 Main Street, Gorey, County Wexford. Nice and simple, we're just inputting that straight away. This is just basically what the bank are looking for. They're looking for all your personal information. C. Davies 1975 at greenmail.com. That's going in here for her email address. And we have her date of birth there as well. Her date of birth is the 19th of November 1975. That's the last thing that's going to go here on this page. The next page we're being asked for her employment status, her occupation, employer's name. So more about her employment. So the bank wants to know about what kind of job does she have. The bank wants to know how much money they're expecting to get in. So she's an interior designer for Design Doc Limited. So that's the company she works for, and that's the address. So her job, she's an interior designer. She's worked there for 7 years and has a net salary of $2,450 a month. So you know her occupation, she's an interior designer. The company was Design Doc Limited. We have her address there as well in Enniscorthy. So Design Doc Limited are going to be her employer. She's been there for 7 years. Her current employment status is she's an employee. She doesn't own the business, she's just working there, and she's going to earn $2,450 per month. Her income is going to be paid into her bank account, and this is just signing it, Carla Davies. And the date, I think they gave us a date when this was signed, 21st of November 2016. Very important. The form is completed on that date, therefore that is the date you're going to use for your completed date for the form. So that's just going through the homework and opening up a bank account. Couple of things you need if you're opening up a bank account as well. You need basically proof of identity, which is passport or driver's license, or proof of address, proof that you actually, that's generally used for proof that you actually live in this country, proof that you're making earnings here and things like that. So proof of address and proof of identity. Proof of address generally, and you'll see when you're older, you're generally going to be asked for stuff like this for opening up bank accounts, or applying for a driver's license, or anything where they're trying to find out who you are. The proof of address will be, you'll get a letter. As you get older, you get a letter. You're paying your electricity bill, and the Bord Gáis Electricity are sending you a letter with your bill, and at the top of the letter you'll have your name and your address, and you can use any form like that as a proof of address. So that's kind of information the bank will need just to photocopy and have on file on you. Withdrawing money from a current account. So withdrawing money from a current account is nice and simple. You have a debit card which is used to make payments in retail stores. So the debit card, which we can see an example of here, I'm sure you may have seen them before. A debit card has a series of 16 numbers. It has an expiry date on it, and at the back it has a unique code called a CVC code, and they're information that you need for online banking. When you're paying in store, it's quite simple. You have the tap option, or you can insert your card into a slot and put in your unique 4-digit identification number, so your PIN code. So you have a PIN number when you are given your bank card. So I'm sure you've seen bank cards in operation before. This is just a normal debit card, and this just allows you to basically pay for goods or services out of your bank account. So instead of you carrying around cash, you can pay out of your bank account. If I have €1,000 in my bank account, I can go into a shop and I can get my shopping, and then I can use my card to pay for my €50 groceries. With a debit card, most of them generally only let you spend the money you have. So that's the difference between a debit card and a credit card. So with a debit card, I can go into a shop. If I have €50, I can go into SuperValu and I can get €50 worth of groceries, and I can pay by card. But if my groceries comes to €51 and I only have €50 in the account, my card will be declined. because a debit card will not let you pay more money than you have in your account. A credit card is different. So for a credit card, go out of that. So for a credit card, you can pay an overdraft, which means that I can pay, if my groceries comes to €60 and I only have €50. I'm allowed to buy the groceries, but my bank balance now will be minus 10, and I'll owe the bank €10, and they'll eventually come looking for that €10. So that's what a credit card allows you to do. It's the difference between debit and credit cards. So ATMs are generally used for debit cards, where you can withdraw your money. This is one, you may have seen them before. They're scattered around every town. And you basically just put in your card, put in your PIN code, and you want to put in how much money you want to take out. And generally there's a max limit. You might only be allowed to take out €300 at any given time. And on a certain day you might only be allowed to take out €500 in total or something like that. And you might only be allowed to take out maybe like 4 transactions a day, depending on the bank. But there are certain rules in place, basically for safety, in case someone was to find your card and take out all of your money at once. They've kind of put a max limit on how much you can take out at any one time. So that is that information there on the debit cards. The next one we have here, we're getting on to what we haven't looked at so far. The next one we have here is in terms of the types of payments we have. So a check is basically when you just send money to somebody. It's not using a card, it's not using cash. It's a piece of paper where you write down your details. We will be looking at them later on. You're writing in your details, and you can send it in the post or anything like that. And then that person takes the check to the bank, and then you can cash the check, and the money will leave my account. A standing order. So I've already gone through this already. So you're paying somebody at regular intervals. So standing order, the easiest way to remember this is to think about Netflix. Think about Netflix or think about Spotify. Basically, you are paying out €8 a month every single month, and the bank knows that that has already been arranged, and that every single month, once that 15th of May, once that date comes, the bank will automatically take €8 out of my account. That's what a standing order is. Direct debit is agreement. It's basically a form of payment. Payment between the bank and account holder that allows a variable amount to be taken from the bank. So it's making a payment for a bill or anything like that. Just a normal payment is a direct debit. And bank draft is when you are overpaying. A bank draft is a payment of account holder that is guaranteed by the bank. So written instruction from the bank showing the amount to be paid and what is to be paid. Very safe way of transferring money. If a person has made a large payment, such as for a car, it would be unwise to withdraw the amount in cash in case the money is lost or stolen. Instead, they could get a bank draft for the amount that the car costs. Generally used for larger payments. We'll get into that kind of later on in the business course. So basically, it's just a form of a guarantee. It's for kind of, I suppose, overpaying. It's for larger amounts of payments. Not looked at from more from a business standpoint, and as I said there, from buying a car standpoint. We'll be looking at that again later on. Borrowing money from a commercial bank, we have overdraft, we have credit card, and we have a loan. Overdraft, as I said previously, was to do with a form of borrowing, so we'll be using a credit card. Difference between a debit card and a credit card is that a credit card allows you to pay more money than you have in your account. So if my bank account only has €100 in there, but I have a credit card, I can go out and spend €200, and the bank will then just simply say, you have €100 that you owe us. You have an overdraft of €100. So the credit card allows the holder the option to borrow funds to pay for goods and services up to an agreed limit. They are accepted in shops and restaurants all over the world using the chip and PIN system. And by online retailers, the most well-known credit cards are MasterCard and Visa. The idea basically is that it allows people to spend money if if you knew that you were receiving money in May but you didn't have it now. The credit card would allow you the ability to kind of start spending money now, and you know that you can earn that money back in May. Um, as I said, there is an agreed limit. It's generally for smaller sums, so it's not like taking out a loan. Generally, you'd use a credit card if you wanted to just pay your shopping or pay your rent or something, a smaller amount of money, and you didn't have yet. Unlike a debit card, when the money comes out of a current account, the credit card company pays the seller on behalf of the card holder. So the company itself is going to pay. So if I'm due to pay my rent and I have no money in my account, but I use my credit card, MasterCard is going to pay my landlord, and then MasterCard will come after me at the end of the month or whenever looking for that money. So it pays the seller on behalf of the cardholder. The cardholder then receives a bill at the end of the month. They can pay their balance off all at once or bit by bit. Interest on credit cards is high and they are mostly used for short-term financing. So a bank is going to make money off this, and the reason why banks allow this is because they can make money off of interest. So um, if you owe the bank €100 and you don't pay them back in the first month, there might be a 5% interest rate put on it. So 5% of 100 is going to be €5. Then the following month you might owe €105. Then the following month you owe €110. The following month 115. So the interest allows the bank to earn a little bit of money off the fact that they have given you money in the first place. Finally, a loan. These are generally for larger sums. So a loan is a sum of money borrowed from a financial institution and paid back with interest over a period of time. A mortgage is a loan that is secured against property such as house or apartment. So a loan is generally something, if you're going to get a car loan or a student loan for college, it's something where you want to get in a large amount of money to pay college fees or pay for a car. And basically you want to get the money that you don't have now, and the bank allows you to basically take this money out even though you don't have it yet. You'll have to pay it back over multiple years. A large version of a loan would be a mortgage, generally used only for housing, for property. So a mortgage might be a loan of 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. And the bank's going to give you that loan, and you may have 30 or 40 years to pay that mortgage back. So a mortgage is a loan for a property. Okay, so we've kind of looked at what we had covered the last day, and I've started kind of looking through in terms of borrowing money. Borrowing itself is a chapter that we'll look at later on. A lot of this is repeated. This is going to be a little bit different. It's foreign currency exchange. So if you were traveling, if you were moving to a different country, and that country had a different currency to what you have, then you would need to exchange your euros for that currency. Case in point is in the US. In the United States of America, they do not use euros, they use US dollars. So if you want to go to America, they will not accept your euro. They want US dollars. So you're going to need to exchange some of your euros for US dollars. If you want to go to the UK, you have the Great British Pound, it's the sterling. So if you want to go to the UK, you'll need to exchange your euros for sterling, Great British Pounds. So what we have here, this is, I'll just enlarge it here. So a little bit of information. So as it says here, the foreign currency is a service that allows customers to change their money into another currency. For example, an Irish person goes to the US on holiday will need to change the euros into US dollars. How many dollars will they get on the euro depends on what the exchange rate is. So you can't transfer €100 for $100. It doesn't work like that. There's a specific rate, and also the bank will take a little bit of money from the transaction as well. They'll make a little bit of profit off it for commission. The exchange rate is the quantity of a foreign currency given in exchange for €1. So what we have here is banks show two prices, the we buy rate and the we sell rate. This is because foreign currency can be bought from a financial institution or sold to it, and I'll go through that in a second. So every single currency has its own exchange rate. So exchange rate is the quantity of foreign currency given in exchange for €1. So if I have €1 here and I want to transfer my €1 into dollars, I'm going to need to contact a bank and I'm going to need to buy US dollars off the bank. So this says we buy and this says we sell. If I have euros and I want to buy dollars off of a bank, I need the bank to sell me dollars. As I'm buying dollars, the bank, we sell. So €1 here, how much will €1 get me in dollars? So it could say here, 0.96, and that means for every €1 that every €1 I give to the bank, I'll get 96 cents in US dollars back. Same thing here if it was the for the UK. If I was going on holidays to the UK and I had €1 and I went to the bank might have a wee sell rate for Great British Pounds. It might have a wee sell rate of 1.10. So for every €1 I give to the bank is going to give me back 1.1 Great British Pounds. So £1 and 10 pence. Every €1 I give to the bank, I get £1 and 10 pence. So that's the value of the euro to the pound. We'll go through it in a bit. To change euro into foreign currency, multiply the euro amount by the wee sell rate. To change a foreign currency into euro, divide the foreign currency by the wee buy rate. We won't look at that one for a sec. We'll just look at the wee sell rate as if I was trying to change my euros into a foreign currency. So this is the example. Jake Quinn is going to Australia on holiday. He wants to exchange €1,000 for Australian dollars. The wee sell rate on the day he visits the bank is 1.5. This means that Jake will receive $1,500. How do we know that? Because the wee sell rate for Australian dollars is going to be 1.5. So picture there's an Australian flag here, and there's the bank wee sell rate, and it's 1.5. For every €1 I give the bank gives me 1.5 Australian dollars. So I'm giving the bank €1,000. The bank is going to give me 1,000 multiplied by 1.5, 1,500 Australian dollars. So that's if I'm trying to change my euros into a foreign currency. I'm trying to change my euros into Australian dollars. The next one we have here is Jake returns home from his holiday with 200 Australian dollars that he wants to change back into euro. So now he has the Australian dollars and he's trying to get back euros. So he is trying to sell his own Australian dollars and he's trying to buy back euro. So the bank buys euro and the bank will buy euro at a different rate. So to change a foreign currency into euro, divide the foreign currency by the wee buy rate. So Jake has 200 Australian dollars. I'm going to divide that 200 by the bank's wee buy rate for euros, and the bank's wee buy rate for euros in this case is 1.48. So I'm trying to change it back into euros. So when I try to change it back into euros, it's the bank buying the money off me. So bank is buying here into the euro rate. For the wee sell rate here, then it's when I'm trying to change my euros into a foreign currency. Jake returns home with 200 Australian dollars. He wants to change into euros. The wee buy rate on the day he visits the bank is 1.48. So they'll buy for every 1.48 Australian dollars he has, they'll give him €1. This means Jake will receive 200 divided by 1.48. He'll receive €135.35. 13 cents. Banks charge a fee for changing currencies. This is called commission. So you'll actually lose out on a small bit of money as well from the bank, just based on them trying to make a little bit of money off it. We will be looking at the activity book for a bit of homework on that. So I'm going to go back to that now. The homework itself here I have. So the homework we've using exchange rates on the board below. Answer the questions that follow. Round your answer to the nearest cent. So Tristan is going to America on holiday. He saved €800 and wants to change this money into US dollars. How much will he receive in US dollars? So Tristan's going to America. He saved €800 and he wants to change this money into US dollars. So he wants to change from euros. His bank is in Ireland. It's the Euro Bank. He wants to change from euros and he wants to buy US dollars. So if he wants to buy US dollars, the bank has to what? The bank isn't buying US dollars. The bank is selling US dollars. So to change euro into a foreign currency, multiply the euro by the we sell rate. So he wants to buy American dollars, multiply the euro by the we sell rate for US dollars. So you can work that out and find out how much US dollars Tristan is going to have. Multiply the euro, it says in the book, change euro into foreign currency, multiply the euros that he has by the amount of the we sell rate for the currency he wants to buy. He wants to buy US dollars, which means the bank is to sell US dollars. How much US dollars will he receive? So Lucy wants to buy a car that is priced at 12,500 UK sterling. So she wants to buy a car from the UK and it's going to cost her £12,500. She goes to the bank to change her euro to sterling. How much will she need? So rounding up to 2 decimal places. So once again, this is a similar example. She wants to buy a foreign currency. She wants to have pounds. So how much will she need? Lucy wants to buy a car that is priced at 12,500 UK sterling. She goes to the bank to change. This is like it's like Lucy's coming back from the UK. Lucy knows that it's £12,500, but she wants to know how much that is in euros. So how are we going to calculate how much that is in euros? So in this case, you have to change a foreign currency into euro. We divide the foreign currency by the we buy rate. So dividing the foreign currency by the bank's we buy rate, because the bank is buying in the currency. This is an example of just trying to find the exchange rate, so she can send on the money. So the €12,500 by the bank's we buy rate for the Great British pounds. So how much euro? That'll tell us how much euros 12,500 pounds is. That is our second example. Try to get out of this. Okay. So our third one here. Carl is going to school on a school tour to Denmark. He saved €400 for the trip. Convert his savings into Danish krone. So Carl saved €400, and when he's going to Denmark, he needs to transfer this into the Danish krone. So he wants to transfer his euros into a foreign currency. Multiply the euros that Carl has by the bank's selling rate for the Danish krone. The fourth one, final one here, you receive a birthday present of 5,000 Japanese yen. So this is a Japanese currency. You go to the foreign exchange to change it to euros. How much euro do you receive? You can round up the answer to 2 decimal places. So in this case, you have 5,000 yen, Japanese yen, and you want to change this back into euros. You want to change a foreign currency into euros. To change a foreign currency into euros, divide the foreign currency by the we buy rate for Japanese yen. So what's the we buy rate for what's the we buy rate for Japanese yen? and all the information is shown here. So that's your homework, and that's the lesson for today on the financial institutions. So the homework again is due for next Monday, so you can send it on Microsoft Teams. Any questions, just email me.